Hey, Max here. Today I'm going to go through the best players at every position in MUT, and let's just start right off. Quarterback. Now, the quarterback position in a lot of MUT is based around abilities, and William Perry, as you know, gets built-in gunslinger, 0. You can throw set feet lead on him, so you get this combo, which no other quarterback in the game can get for 4, which opens up a lot of things for your offense, whether you want jukebox, slot apprentice, tight end apprentice, halfback apprentice, so many more things that you can do and utilize on offense with this card. Otherwise, you know, you can always have gift wrap. Some people really like that for high point passes that don't bounce off the hands nearly as much. He also, you know, if you want joystick or whatever, you can include his escape artist on for 10 plays. Or Truz. The problem with Truz is that people have been told me, and it didn't happen to me, but people told me you can still get stripped with Truz on. So that's why I use Escape Artist, as getting out of the pocket just slightly faster is nice. So he's number 1, but there are a lot of great contenders at quarterback between like Andrew Luck. We have Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry wasn't good, but I liked Burrow pretty well. Herbert's all right. And Levis is a really good quarterback too. So, but I would say William Perry is by far number 1 because great throw motion, gets the best 2 abilities for a quarterback in the game. Now, he doesn't get, obviously, Hot Route Master. Actually, I go set feet lead, Hot Route Master, then Gunslinger. Then maybe gift wrapped after that. So he doesn't get the number 2, but he gets the number 1 and 3 in my mind. All right, on to running back. Now, a lot of this depends on your theme team, right? I'm running a 50-50 zero chill theme team. I could have Derrick Henry, of course. There's a lot of different running backs I like to try out. I have Barry Sanders because he gets freight train just auto activated. So he's my goal line back. I usually run Dree Archer with the running back apprentice out there for 1. But otherwise, like, the running back position is really utilized around Todd Gurley, or if you do have the theme team, Derrick Henry is a monster out here with 96 speed. Now, I'm going to rank these cards based off basically no theme team usage, okay? Yeah, Derrick Henry on a theme team getting at the 97 speed, so he'd be faster than Todd Gurley, higher break tackle, plus he's got his Angry Run X Factor, he's got Jukebox on him, persistent for 0. Quite the card right there, and Derrick Henry. So I'd say between Todd and Derrick, depending on the theme team you're running, would be the number 1 running back in the game at the moment. All right, let's move on to fullback. It's Keith Smith. Keith Smith's the number 1 fullback in the game. I mean, you can compare him to like Okoye. Okoye's like 252 pounds, but Okoye doesn't have nearly as good of run block, impact block, and I think his lead block, that's all in the 70s for him. So Keith Smith, even though he's only 90 overall only, versus Okoye's like 93, the fact that I think they're the same speed, but this is actually better blocker, you're giving up 12 pounds, but I think Keith Smith is, for what you would need a running fullback to do, is the number 1 fullback in the game. Okay, after that, and he's cheaper, right? He's like a third of the price too. On to the receivers. Now, if you have a zero chill theme team, I think Darius Hayward-Bay would be my top 3. Deion Sanders would make it 2. One of those 2 would be my top 3, obviously, because they do get 98 speed. Now, so, you know what? I'm just going to actually say one of those will be my top 3 regardless. Whoever you want to choose. 6 foot, Darius Hayward-Bay, 6'2". Darius Hayward-Bay doesn't have as good a catching attributes. With gift wrap, it doesn't matter as much, but I still think it does matter. I have seen him drop a ball that I didn't expect him to drop. As for the number 2 and 3 receivers in the game right now, one would be Randy Moss is another one. Like I talked about, no zero chill theme team here. 95 speed, 6'4", so a big target you can throw the ball to. It's Randy Moss. You'd be out here just mossing dudes. I like the way Moss cards generally play, and this card he's maybe not been as dominant as previous Moss cards just because of the speed not being Moss-ish, because of the lack of zero chill chem bonuses when we're running out 98 speed receivers. But overall, you can't argue with height, and that brings me to my other one of my top receivers, or the top 3 receivers, because most people run 3 receiver sets in the game. It is Montez Sweat's wide receiver card. 6'6", 94 speed, so 1 speed slower than Moss, 2 inches taller, great for the seam patterns. And yes, obviously speed matters in Madden, but I feel like this year for receiver, I'm generally not like beating guys deep as much, and I have a deep threat for that purpose, like the 98 speed DHB or Sanders. But 6'6", especially, it's basically another like tight end out there, and like high points and seam shots and boxing guys out and getting them sideline catches. A lot of what I run on offense personally, throw into those middle parts of the field, sidelines. The height really makes a difference because the defenders right now, like you'll go against a lot of out of position Gronks. We'll talk about those guys. They're going to be similar height. So when you throw the ball to Tyreek, and especially with like set feet lead, the ball trajectory is very low. Whereas to Montez Sweat, because he's 6'6" versus 5'8", the ball trajectory is going to be a little bit higher, and that I do believe makes a difference in preventing interceptions to those locations and the part of the fields and the routes that you're running. So next on the list will be tight end. Now there are a couple different things you want to think about when you're looking at tight end. Now Vernon Davis would be the fastest non-theme team, of course. He's 6'3", but I just talked about Montez Sweat, about how nice the height is, and obviously looking at the route running, having them all over 90 is really cool. He's got short route running, medium route running over 90. I guess we can look down to deep route running, 93 on this card. So an incredible receiving threat. Not maybe like the thing about blocking is tight ends generally, like the best tight end blockers are like in the 80s even. So they're not going to stand up to like the 90 plus block shit that a lot of defensive ends might have when you go against them. So blocking, you're always going to be a disadvantage there on tight ends. But overall, like, you know, you got the pure speed guys versus like more of maybe like the height combo guys, maybe like the Rob Gronkowski types. So Rob Gronkowski's 93 overall card is a little slower. Don't get me wrong, was that 2 speed slower. But getting those extra 3 inches, especially for the high point passes, like I talked about with Gift Rat. Running back, his run block's actually an 89. So I think, is that the number 1 run block in the game? I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure everybody else, that like Darnell Washington is 80. I think that might be number 2 in the game. So an incredible run blocker as well, because he is one of the best run blocking tight ends in the history of the game also. So I think he's probably my number 1 tight end in the game, non-theme team. But if it is a Zero Chill theme team, it would be Tony Gonzalez's, because he's tall, tight end apprentice for 1, and that would be my number 1 tight end. All right, going through the tackles and guards. I'm just gonna do this one on MUT.gg for tackles and guards. The problem with tackles and guards is, I've explained this in my last video about budget squads, and that's why I'm not talking about budget cards in this video. I talked about how to build a budget card in my last video. Offensive linemen don't really matter that much. I've seen this Will Hernandez, and I have him chemmed up to 99 strength. I'll show it to you on my roster. I've seen him get instas, like super wind against him. I've seen him get blown back. Like, that's something that I expected, like low 80 overall cards, not the strongest, literal maxed out strength, best offensive lineman in the game until, you know, Trent Williams just the highest overall, whatever. But so while I'll say the best lineman in the game, which is left tackle Anthony Munoz, I kind of like him better than Trent Williams. A little extra run block on him. Right tackle Chris Hinton. Larry Allen's not my right guard. My center would be Ryan Kelly, is the best one. I'd take Will Hernandez over Larry Allen just for the bonus and speed. I think he's like 12 speed faster, and I like that if I ever pull my guard. And then I think my left guard is my favorite left guard in the game. Is it Ruben Brown? 6'3", 2. No, he might be a little slow. I have it written down, but I'm not crazy. All right, I'll look at it right now. My favorite left guard in the game. Oh, yeah, it is Ruben Brown. He's a little slow at 64 speed. 40 change of direction, Omega Low. But Ruben Brown, they're over 300 pounds, and that's kind of what I look at. I do like the heaviness for the run game, but I do pass more, so the run game isn't as big of a deal for me. All right, let's move on to the defensive side of the best team in the game. As for left ends, there's a few choice. Will Anderson's a good one. He's the one I'm currently running because of the theme team. His price, whatever you say, it's fine. But I think about going to like a natural, no theme team whatsoever, I think I'd actually take Javon Curse without the bonuses. I like a little bit extra block shed, same speed, and better acceleration. I think acceleration's a little underrated as far as getting to the quarterback. Once you're off your block, you want to accelerate as fast as possible. So him having +4 acceleration on Will Anderson, I think he becomes my number 1 left end in the game. Now, obviously, when Will Anderson gets +2 acceleration, I think he is better with the boost than Curse. I don't think it's, that close, but without the boost, I would take Curse flat out over him. All right, best right end. Best right end is clearly J.J. Watt. He's the only guy in the game that gets the ability combo, for at least for a decent rate. Double or nothing and edge threat elite for 3. You can stack them on his card. And that actually means he's going to beat blocks faster than normal. If you go just edge threat, or just edge shred elite, just double or nothing. It's okay, you'll win occasionally. It's when you stack the two that JJ Watt unleashes his full fury. So like, not even looking at the attributes right here, right? The 90s speed, acceleration, all that stuff, which is, don't get me wrong, is really good. It's the edge threat and double or nothing, and you do have to play him at edge. It is called edge threat to make it work out well. But he is the best right end in the game, and probably the only right end that actually wins at a higher rate in frequency and quickness than other ends, okay? So down to D tackle. Number one, you got to determine whether you want a run stuffer or more of like a pass rusher. Now, Jalen Carter right here for me has 95 block shed, 314, so good poundage right there, good numbers, and he's pretty quick, right? 87 speed with a boost, 84 without. One of the fastest DTs in the game. If you want a fast DT, just put a defensive end there, because defensive ends here are 90 speed, but defensive tackles, as you see across the board here, are sitting in the low to mid 80s for like the thrower guys. So overall, the most effective defensive tackles for me this year have been the big guys, have been the Dexter Lawrences, 340 pound plus guys. Vita Vea was good. I really like this Dexter Lawrence card. Oh no, I just talked about Dexter Lawrence, didn't I? I really like this. I want to go up. No, I want to go down. William Perry at 335 has been really solid for me in the middle, and only 113 for a really nice defensive tackle. A lot of people loved Gilbert Brown at 345 also, and he's not like super slow either. So I think overall the weight is the best part of defensive tackles, but 314, 85 or 95 block shed. The issue is maybe his power move, finesse move isn't as high, but so much of this game is not a timer for O-line blocking. Like you won't shed for a couple seconds unless you get a super win. That like the power move being 90 is fine enough. I don't think you're going to see a drastic difference if that was 95 on power move. It is good to have it, don't get me wrong, but I think Jalen Carter and Dexter Lawrence are my number one DTs in the game. All right, so left outside linebacker. Who's my number one? Well, it depends if you want a pass rusher like Montez Sweat, if he's going to be defensive end, or I think the more impactful card would be Harold Carmichael right here. He is 6'1", 6'8", 96 speed on the boost, so 93 speed. But overall, his ability to kind of like lurk underneath. Like I've had a Harold Carmichael today, or I guess yesterday when you guys saw this. He was playing the slant route I think he was like 5 yards deep on me. And he picked off my post pattern that was 20 yards downfield behind him, okay? Like, it was ridiculous. And that's the kind of animations you get at 6'8" with lurk artists for free. So whether you put him there, you can put him on the D-line, you can spy him, hook zone, user him. This is an insanely powerful card that more people aren't talking about just because of another card I'm about to get to actually right now. Next time I listed the middle linebacker spot, it's Rob Gronkowski. Now, middle linebackers, and it's crazy what EA's done. They've made them relevant with this lurk artist ability, especially for 0 on Gronk. You get Avalanche. Avalanche has not been good for me, I will say that. Even though when I've tried hit sticks, they haven't actually caused fumbles. It's not nearly as powerful as it used to be. But anyways, the CPUs don't throw hit sticks anymore either. Even with Enforcer, you have to manually throw them. So hit sticks have definitely been nerfed. But like looking at this card, even if you mentally subtract the 3 off of it for a lot of these stats because of the bonuses, but dude, 98 agility down to 95, change of directions 98, he's 6'6", 97 speed, 97 acceleration. I mean, this is just overpowered as heck. Like, just wickedly crazy. Like, it's going to be hard for EA to release any content over the next like few weeks to a month that's going to be better than Rob Gronkowski in the middle of the field. The height, speed, combo. He's even got crazy zone coverage, block shed, hit power, weight. So the guys won't be able to fall forward on him as easily, even though a lot of running backs, like even Barry Sanders, is a power back in this game with how the animations play out. Absolutely psycho. So I have another role on this, best user, but I'll talk about that in a bit. And so the other position, right outside linebacker, I'm just going to go ahead and give it to Micah Parsons. You can say TJ Watt, but Micah Parsons, I'll give it to for being faster, up to 95 speed. He's 92 speed stock, acceleration 93 stock. Strength's a little bit lower, but I really do enjoy the 94 block shed, 94 power or finesse move on this card. He moves well, sets the edge, is a great edge rusher. The thing about all these edge rushers, whether it's Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Lawrence Taylor, Will Anderson, Aiden Hutchinson, all these guys are rotated, even Montez Sweat. they all basically shed at the same time. Not a single one of them is going to have better stats than the others. No matter what their power, whatever it says on the card. They're all basically the same thing on a 4-man rush, and that's just how EA's made the game this year. So get whoever you like. Get your favorite player. I'm not going to suggest a single one that's going to be, oh, he's so much better. Get Parsons better than Watt. Watt's better than Parsons. Will Anderson clears everybody. Lawrence Taylor. It's all about the same with the way the game is coded this year, except for, like I talked about, J.J. Watt's double or nothing and edge threat combo for 3 that actually does some work for us. All right? Let's go over to cornerback. The best cornerback in the game right now, Randy Moss. I mean, he's priced like it. I've seen him bordering 3 million coins. He's got bottleneck if you want to use that starting on. I don't really use man coverage, so I don't use it. I should probably just use another X factor. Lurk artist for 0 means he's actually going to intercept the ball. 98 speed with the bonuses, so 95 stock. I believe that's the fastest corner in the game. Acceleration, agility, all that jump is up there. 6'4". You know how rare it is to get a 6'4" corner in the NFL? What do you got, like Brandon Browner? Or what is his name? Brandon, was it that for the Legion of Boom back in the day? And then there's like, you know, Isaiah Simmons. There's so few 6'4" guys. We need them out of position. And so he's the number 1 corner. The number 2 corner, I do believe, is up for debate between Megatron and Tariq. I'd probably go Tariq because he's just a little bit faster than Megatron, personally. The problem with both of them is they get pick artists for 1 and not 0, like other guys on the field getting lurk artists for 0. So 98 zone, 96 man, 6'4", a monster out there. Obviously, there's major flaws in the game and the logic itself, so he's not going to play better or like insanely different without the deep out, knockout, or stuff like that on the cards. But 6'4", those extra inches, the extra speed does matter quite a bit. Now, depending on your scheme, maybe you want the other inch on Kelvin Johnson. If you do just put him into a flat zone and then he kind of like lurks the sidelines and stuff, that extra inch could help. Best free safety, Jack Tatum. Actually, the free safety position, it's not that deep right now in the game. Jack Tatum, I'm using them just solely. Like, you have the choice between Jack Tatum or Isaiah Pacheco. I'm actually running them both with 2 AP, deep out, knockout. Sadly, we also don't get a discounted like a lurk artist like on other cards. But he is not part of the Zero Chill theme team, but still 94 speed. 5'10", you could argue is a problem. But the benefit of knockouts is that you hope they don't go for the pick, right? You hope that all you need to do is touch the receiver and you'll knock it out. And that's why I don't mind. Like, the short part of the field, I actually want height because they'll jump up, lurk, grab something, and they rob your opponent. On the back part, when the ball's throwing down the field quite a lot, I actually don't mind the lack of height because all you need is a knockout. All you need to do is touch them. And maybe they won't go for the pick if they're not tall enough to get to it, and they'll actually go for the actual knockout. So that's why Pacheco and Tatum on my deep outside zones, whether there's thirds or quarters out there, I actually am okay. A little bit more than I am. I would think I would be. At strong safety, I'm actually going to go Bo Jackson over. You guys be like, where's Peppers? We'll talk about Peppers in a second. Bo Jackson gets deep in for 1 and pick artist for 0. So Bo Jackson, I talked about the deep out guys. Those are on the outside parts. Bo Jackson's the perfect deep middle strong safety, whether you put him at sub linebacker and you put him in the deep middle, or you just leave him at like strong safety or free safety and then you put him in the deep third. He is the best in the game. Look at that speed, acceleration, especially the agility and change of direction, which allow him to stop quicker than a lot of other cards and get to it to knock out the ball or get to it to actually intercept the ball. So having that pick artist for 0 is a huge advantage over every other card in the game for that position. So overall, Bo Jackson, number 1 strong safety in the game, without a doubt. And the number 1 user, I will say, will be Julius Peppers. Even though I don't have him technically at user, I had to get some way to get him in the game because I wanted to talk about Bo Jackson's deep middle ability, but also Julius Peppers, just like Gronk, just like Carmichael, between that 6'6" and 6'8" spot, high-end speed. Acceleration's, only 90 on him, I guess. Change direction's 95, nice though. Agility, 90. So I just want to honorable mention almost Peppers as like a user / zone / put him at cornerback in a cover 2 system. So he can get like those, lurks up there. It's a great idea. That's kind of how I use him in my big nickel oftentimes. So as you'll notice, I got a lot of top cards in the game. Almost every single ones. I guess the ones I don't would be the halfback. I don't have Montez Sweat because of the theme team. But overall, this Zero Chill theme team is OP. Probably the most OP team collection that we've had in the history of MUT. And that's all I gotta say about it. Let's look at the spreadsheet of the best cards. So here they are, all out late at once. Oh, I guess I should make this smaller. That's what she said. There it is. That's all of it at once. From quarterback on down through quote-unquote user. Best team in the league. All right.